So today what we're going to be looking at is a complex example that we've built in Direktiv. And the idea behind this was a proof of concept, just to show that we could do a not safe for work classification on images, but from a multi-cloud and multi-platform perspective. And the idea is that image is uploaded to a storage account or SharePoint. The image is taken, classified using an API or another platform as either safe for work or not safe for work. We would add a watermark which would either approve it or not approve it. If it is approved, we would put it in an approved container or storage space. If it's not approved, we would notify an administrator for review and put the image in a different container to ensure that the image is being reviewed. And then at the end of the workflow, we would just clean up the original uploaded image. So to have a look at what we've done, if we look at the Direktiv GitHub project, we're actually going to be using the Direktiv Beta, which is available. If you click on it, it'll take you directly to it. In this case, it's workflow.direktiv.io. I'll be logging in with my account. And in here we created a namespace called not safe for work workflows. So there is a bit of setup that we did beforehand, and if you follow the article on Medium, you'll see we set up firstly events in Microsoft Azure. So in this case, storage events, because Direktiv supports the cloud events standard, and it's very simple. Storage block created, storage block deleted. For this namespace specifically, we created authentication token, which we used as part of the endpoint. So the endpoint is http workflow.direktiv.io API namespaces, the not safe for work workflow. And it's very easy to get this endpoint, because all you need to do is go on your workflow, hit the API interaction, and you can send it to this. All you would need to do after this is add a question mark token equals and the token value that was generated as part of your auth tokens. So that's what we set in here. We also did set a filter to only send an event that's created in the processing container. So there's 3 containers that were created. If we look at this, so not safe for work, processing, safe for work. So processing is where we put it in, and then it'll either be put in safe for work or not safe for work. So if we look at the workflow, the kickoff is obviously the Azure blob creation. It'll send this event. We then hit the Google Vision API, which will classify it for us. There's no work in this. It's just a container with some credentials and the URL where the file is located. This one was a bit more tricky. This is the AWS Lambda function. This is where we add the watermark ourselves. So if I show you what my Lambda function looks like, it is very, very rudimentary. It was just accepts the URL from the Microsoft Azure blob creation. It adds the watermark, which just says either approved by Direktiv or not approved by Direktiv. The most important part is that we actually convert it into a base64 string, and we pass the string back as part of the response to the Lambda function. So in the case of Direktiv, what would happen is we would call the Direktiv container that calls AWS Lambda functions. It'll execute this function and pass us the base64 encoded JPEG image with the watermark added. From that point forward, a send mail function, again, just a simple container that gets run, and then we upload this base64 encoded string. We obviously create a binary file, upload it to the Azure Storage, which would be one of the 2 containers in this case. So safe for work or not safe for work. If we have a look, remember these. So container safe for work or not safe for work. And then lastly, just a cleanup, because we want to delete, and this is actually just a CLI command that we're going to run. So if we look at the whole workflow, you can see it's just what we're actually running are just Docker containers, and it's Docker containers provided by the Direktiv team. They build these. It's easy to create your own container as well with your own code, and this was the whole idea, that we decouple the code from the workflow engine, so the developers can write whatever they want to write in whatever language they want to write, and we will just spin the containers up and down as we need it. In Direktiv itself, we've set some secrets because we read some secrets as part of the workflow, and the workflow itself is discussed in detail in Medium. But if we have a quick overview, this is the event, the storage block creation that we tell Direktiv to listen for when it hits the namespace. There you can see the definitions for all of our containers we want to run, or our functions, whatever you want to call it. And then we define our state. So this will get the rating from Google Vision. This will check the rating based just on a simple jQuery or JQ, JSON query. We call our AWS Lambda function. That'll actually, so there's the Python watermark function, which is the same Python watermark function we have in Lambda. We pass it the URL and the message we want to watermark it with, and then we pass it on to the next state, which in this case is copy file to save for work. If it's not approved, we will first notify, obviously, via send mail. Send mail is just very, very simple, a SMTP client, and this will copy it back to the right directory, so the not safe for work directory in this case, whereas it would be the safe for work directory on the other one. This is safe for work, and then we do a cleanup where it's just a simple CLI command that we delete the old file. So if we go back and we trigger this workflow, we're obviously going to start with a safe for work image because that's the one we can show afterwards. So we have a safe for work image there, and we'll upload this. So at this point it gets uploaded. Azure will send an event through to Direktiv, which will kick off the workflow, and what we can do is have a look, and you can see this is running. So the inputs throughout the workflow, there are some outputs and log statements in. If you go into the logs directory, you can see it's already completed. So this is done. So this would have been uploaded and completed, and what we should see is it's gone from the safe for work, the processing, and we should see it in safe for work. There's a safe for work, approved by Direktiv, and it's a nice airplane that we have in there. So if we do a not safe, so just to go back, the total execution time in this case, if we look at it, it started 45 seconds and finished roughly 45 seconds later. So let's do a not safe for work one. And off we go. Again, Direktiv will receive the event coming in. It's already kicked off, and the same thing will just happen. It'll follow through. In this case, I should be getting an email that it is a not safe for work image that's been classified. We've already send mail function sent, and waiting for Azure upload. That's the CLI command to clean it up. That's the email we just received, and that should be in not safe for work. So close your eyes if you don't want to see zombies, but there you go, not approved by Direktiv. So, and that is as simple as what it is. Obviously, if you want to have a look at how many features and functions we've built, the volatile hub.docker.com, this could be any repository that you want to use, but we also have in our GitHub repo Direktiv apps, every single one that we built. It's available for you to use and look at and how we do it, and we obviously encourage everybody to write their own and build their own, because that's how we get the serverless workflow engine running, and get it decoupled from everything else. And that is it. Simple Safe for Work demo.